The game plays right here.
Are you ready for some football?
Your sports leader, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, and WCSL Cherryville Gastonia.
And good afternoon, everybody. Kevin Hastings along with Hunter Yancey. It's Shock Joxx time. Big weekend. Hadn't seen Hunter. Well, we saw him Saturday, but hadn't seen him on this show in about a week now, exactly a week. And good to see him back. Good to see Tanner back as well. Both of you in the house. We've had a big weekend NCAA tournament action. We're going to talk brackets, busted brackets, champions, upsets, and more. We've got little special, as soon as I figure out how to pull up what I want to, a special little baseball bat section I wanted to talk with the guys about, show them some cool stuff. And we've got NBA news and notes to go over and more Yetis baseball tomorrow. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. And do we got NFL stuff to talk about today? Do you got to complain about Fitzmagic anymore? Or are we good on that?
I mean, I don't know this.
I didn't know there wasn't anything else NFL-wise come across on Saturday or anything.
No, I mean, Giants are the ones that signed Kenny Galladay. I don't know how much that helps them or hurts them. It's just, I don't know. It's that awkward time of the year now where if it wasn't for college basketball going, what really are you paying attention to? At least on the professional aspect.
Racing. Well, Tar Heels just got beat.
Yeah, they did.
Girls.
Yeah, they're out. Both are out.
I see Kyrie Irving out next 3 games to a family issue. Is this the birthday month he takes off?
I guess. I don't know.
I don't know if it's the same thing or not. I haven't hit the button, so don't yell at me and say I'm being mean to Kyrie if it's something serious.
Like, it's supposed to be a family issue, what I've read about, but nobody, obviously, they're not going to.
Well, that's what they said on the last one, and he was at a birthday party.
I know, and they're not going to put the
I tell
details of it out.
Tell my son, Hunter, once you start lying to me, I have no other choice but not to believe you.
Yeah.
I can't put it any other way, really. The tournament is going on currently right now while we're talking to you live. Oregon is up big time on Iowa, 91-74 now. Next game up coming up at 2:40. There's no reason for us to turn TV on, Hunter. Gonzaga hosts Oklahoma, maybe at 3 o'clock when we turn it on and see where they're at 2:40 today. More games across the board. ACU and UCLA, Ohio and Creighton, LSU, Michigan, Colorado, Florida State, Maryland, Alabama, USC, Kansas, across the board on KTC Broadcasting. Thanks for everybody that tunes in and watches live on YouTube and through ktcbroadcasting.com. All right, Hunter. Well, I can't find the exact thing I wanted to on the bats. So let me get you going on the NCAA tournament here. And first thing I wanted to mention was that my pick for the champion went just as far as your picked the champion almost.
Yeah.
And it's been like that, throughout the tournament.
I think I read a stat earlier. Someone had pulled together. I think it was ESPN or somebody did it on Twitter.
Real quick, for the folks that don't know, let me update you. He picked Illinois, number 1 seed.
Yeah.
I picked Appalachian State, my alma mater, in the play-in game to win the whole thing, and they both didn't make it past Saturday.
Well,
Sunday,
that's
whatever
true.
it is.
Didn't make it past Sunday. Crazy thing is they're out of 14.7 million brackets on the ESPN Tournament Challenge. Only 8 correctly picked all of the men's games on Saturday. So 8 out of 14.7 million. Odds are never in your favor, are they?
No, not at all, because there's upsets. People aren't going to pick, the problem with picking an upset, Hunter, people pick an upset. The problem with picking them is that what happens in the second, third, and fourth rounds after you pick that upset is because that's when the wager and that's when the, going out on a limb with these teams is. So, like, for example, if you pick, Oregon to beat Iowa, you got Iowa going 2 more spots today. If you did, you just lost 2 more points in the or sets of points in the bracket.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, with me picking Illinois to win it all and them losing in the round of 32, I lost a ton of points.
Here's what I want to know. Why is there not a link at the top or anywhere to a bracket that I can just click on and look at the bracket? It's check your bracket, check the world's bracket, check a celebrity bracket. Hunter, I'm looking at the NCAA page on your favorite thing, top of the page. At nowhere can I click the actual bracket.
Right.
So where do I go?
Oh, I don't know.
I want a bracket. I want to talk about this stuff. I want to break it down. I guess I'm going to have to go to the NCAA.com. Jeez. Trying to do something nice for our folks. And
I know to have it on screen. It's easy just to pull it up on our phones. I mean, I have mine on my phone, but
just look up the March Madness thing.
All I have on my phone, there's a bunch of red.
You can't use those words, Tanner.
The 2 words that you just used.
Because they've been banned from the world. Advertising purposes, we can't. I don't even know if we can say it as a affiliate and actually running the games.
It's like you have to say the big game
instead of Super Bowl. You can't have a Super Bowl party in advertising.
It's licensing. Yeah, it's licensing.
It's just stupid.
Right. All right. So I clicked on. Well, I thought I clicked on bracket. NCAA bracket for Division I. No, not women's. Where's the? At no point did I click on the women's. Can I please, Hunter? That nobody wants me to look at the bracket, folks. I'm gonna bring you the bracket at some point, if there is one in this thing. I will sit here and be silent until I find a bracket. I'm not this stupid, y'all.
Nah,
I'm really not.
No, you're not stupid. They just overcomplicate things.
Well, they want you to look at, like I said, they want you to look at your bracket.
They don't just want you to be able
that
to
you've
click
turned in.
They don't want you to just click and pull up what's happening right now.
I give up. How am I supposed to talk about what's going on if I can't even find a damn bracket?
So Gonzaga and Oklahoma play at 2:40.
Hunter's going to have to look on his phone.
Creighton and Ohio play at 6 o'clock tonight. Southern California and Kansas play at 9:40. Of course, we did say Oregon and Iowa are playing right now. Michigan and LSU are at 7 tonight. Colorado, Florida State is at 7:45. UCLA, Abilene Christian is at 5:15. And Maryland and Alabama at 8:45. So that is what's happening today tournament-wise. Yesterday, though, when we started the round of 32, let me see. 1, 2, 3. Only 4 of the higher-ranked teams won. Baylor won. Villanova won. Arkansas won. And then Houston won. Those were the higher seeds than the teams that they were playing. Other than that, we had an 8 seed Loyola Chicago defeat number 1 seed Illinois. We had Oregon State, the 12 seed, defeat number 4 Oklahoma State. And then we had Syracuse defeat West Virginia. That was an 11-3. The team that's just come out of nowhere, Oral Roberts, has gone on to beat Ohio State and Florida back-to-back as a 15 seed. So now they'll play Arkansas next. And my God, could they just keep going? Could they beat another team and make the Elite Eight?
Of all the upsets I have on my bracket, I did not have Oral Roberts.
None.
Tom's Ohio State Buckeyes screwed me into the ground. But that's what he gets. Nobody jinx people more than anyone than people on this show, Tanner. I promise you. You let Tom start talking about it. We should have noticed it, Hunter. We didn't pick up on it. When he started rambling on about how he hopes App loses by 100, they lost by 1, and then they got beat by Oral Roberts by like 20 or whatever it was. So, like, he got what he deserved, and then Loyola Chicago upsets Illinois. I think was that his pick too?
I don't believe.
I think it was.
I don't know,
I got to look it up. But they take out the Illini, and then now do we? I don't even know.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. I watched that game.
Well, at Oregon State,
and
I've still got Oregon State.
The Illinois
Believe it or
game.
not.
And let me tell you something. I was so disappointed with Illinois because it looked like the whole time watching Illinois' offense, they had no idea what the hell to do. They would have one guy at the top of the key dribble around for probably, 15 to 20 seconds into the shot clock.
Yeah.
And they would just get nothing out of it. It's like they couldn't figure out how to get through the Loyola of Chicago's defense. And just by me watching it, there was nothing complex about Loyola Chicago's defense. They were just up in their face the whole time. They were actually playing defense, and they were physical. And I don't know, Illinois just couldn't get the shots to fall. They could not get to the rim at all at one point. I was noticing they had turnovers for days. Let me see how many turnovers exactly they had by a team. Team stats.
I did find the bracket, actually.
Total turnovers. Illinois had 17 total turnovers to Loyola of Chicago's 11. So they won the turnover battle, Loyola of Chicago, but they only allowed Illinois to shoot 44% from the floor. The defense that Loyola of Chicago had was amazing, and Illinois just decided that, well, if we're going to shit the bracket a little bit more for these people, we might as well just do it today.
That's your drawing.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Who doodled on my bracket over here?
It's me.
Is that a self-portrait?
No. No, it was just a doodle.
I don't even want to know.
It was just a doodle.
I got 15 of 32 right.
I probably don't even have that.
I don't even know if I'm bragging or not. I'm just saying, for the people that don't know. So I went through and picked all upsets. I picked App State to win it all, and then I picked the 1s and 2 seeds for the most part to make it out pretty far. But I had App over Winthrop in the finals. The Final Four, I had App versus Michigan, beating Michigan again to upset the world, and then I had Winthrop and Houston. Houston's still alive. I tell you what, so Hunter, the bottom part of my bracket, I don't know if you can see, I have way more yellow in it than the top part. This bottom part, I've got so far 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I had 10 of the 16 in the bottom part. I was over 500 in the bottom.
Listen, now I will say this. I have 3 of the teams still alive that were in my Final Four outside of Illinois. I have 3 teams still alive. I have Gonzaga, Alabama, and Baylor. Baylor has already advanced to the round of Sweet 16. We'll see if Gonzaga and Alabama can do it. I don't see how really Gonzaga doesn't, but if anything, this tournament has proven that this year's kind of just crazy and out of nowhere.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I think this is one of the years where it's crazy. If I'm not mistaken, I think I read 2 days ago, probably Saturday, after the games on Saturday, or maybe it was the games yesterday, that this was the first time that like 4 seeds lower than 12 and lower have advanced to the round of 32.
Because of my expert picking. Kansas still alive?
No.
Who beat Kansas? Yeah, they're still alive.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They played
got a
Southern
game
Cal.
today.
Yeah, they got Southern Cal today. Well, I've pretty much
Well, listen,
missed that whole
It
bracket.
just seems like there's going to be, upsets everywhere today. So out of the games that are upsets everywhere. So out of the games that are going to be played today, it looks like we're getting ready to we do have an upset as Oregon. The final is 95-80 over Iowa, the 7 over the 2. Well, what else? Who else is going to get the upset? I don't know. If we're just going the lower seed over the higher seed, I mean,
Maryland's got Alabama today. Syracuse got Houston.
That's tomorrow. Syracuse and Houston is, well, that's a Sweet 16 matchup already. You're talking about today, though. Maryland and Alabama, UCLA and Abilene Christian. That's a 14-11 matchup. And
I've got all those teams alive still. I got Abilene Christian beating UCLA actually in my bracket
because you went by upsets. You went by.
I've got Abilene Christian beating UCLA. That's the one that's going to earn me some points.
Yeah, I only have 3 teams left in the Final Four, too.
I can still almost, I would say this, Hunter, I could almost nail the East, except I've missed 3 in the East, and Illinois. I didn't have Illinois in the Final Four, so that don't hurt me as bad as, a lot of people. I got Houston in the Final Four. I picked Phi Slamma Jamma. You know who that is, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
You know who Phi Slamma Jamma is?
No.
No?
I'm just looking through the games today. I tell you what, it's going to be crazy for me to say this. I think Colorado could beat Florida State. That would be a 5 over a 4. Not a huge upset because they're just literally right there neck and neck in this rankings. Southern Cal could probably beat Kansas. Ohio could beat Creighton, the 13 over the 5. And I don't know if Oklahoma's got what it takes to beat Gonzaga. I don't. I think Gonzaga rolls. So I'll tell you really the ones I think where the one that's favored wins. I think Michigan beats LSU. I think Gonzaga beats Oklahoma. And I think Alabama beats Maryland. Other than that, I don't know anything that could happen in the UCLA-Abilene Christian game. Not at all. I didn't think Abilene Christian would make it past Texas, but they did. Florida State and Colorado, either one of them could win that game, but I think it wouldn't surprise me if Colorado beats them. Oregon, obviously, is just upset Iowa, so I don't know. It's almost a crapshoot when you get down to this point after there's been so many upsets. And you look around, because I know it's cliche and it's easy to just go chalk on everything. People fill out brackets like that probably every year where it's just higher seed advances. Mm-hmm. Or in your case, how you did yours, all upsets except for possibly the 1s and 2s. You expect them to win.
So my strategy was to pick out upsets, and then except for the Gonzaga, except for Gonzaga, I picked the 1s and 2s to advance. Just everybody's is going to go crazy this first weekend or two, but watch at the end of the tournament. Hunter, in the Final Four, we'll just have nothing but 1s and 2s still.
Well, my Final Four,
the only ones got put out and 2 right now is Iowa. Illinois and Iowa got put
Illinois,
out.
Iowa, and Ohio State got to put out early.
So 3 of the 8.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 1s and 2s are still alive.
I mean, listen, out of the one where Illinois was, Houston could come out. And then my bracket, my Final Four would still be 2 1s and 2 2s. Mm-hmm. Because it would be Baylor and Gonzaga. Those are the 1s. I have Alabama there as a 2. And then who knows? Houston could be there as
in
a
68. We all know usually the top 10 teams are the teams that should win it.
Right.
So, the first 2 rounds, everybody's like, this is an upset or this is an upset. Well, okay, let's a 12-5 upset. That's 20 versus 48. I mean, is that what you stormed the court for? So, it's more of getting rid of the riffraff in the first 2 rounds. And yeah, I mean, you Ohio State and you Illinois.
Let me tell you something.
You're not good enough to get beat by Loyola Chicago.
I don't know if Houston is ready for that 2-3 though. They're gonna have to play Syracuse.
I gotta go find the line. Remember, or the week before too. I also told you always pick Syracuse to
at least
Sweet
win.
16. They'll win the first round for sure. Don't even think they won't. If you feel good about them, I always put them in the Sweet 16. Man, we were talking 3 weeks ago, Hunter. I think, can Syracuse even get in the tournament? And I think I said, they're getting in.
Well,
they're
Syracuse,
going to the ACC.
Syracuse had to get in by beating North Carolina at Syracuse, and they did that. So
and then they win. There's no reason not to put them in. because they always win.
And Buddy Boeheim in the first game scored 30, and then the second game scored 25. I mean, they got a guy that's out here.
Is he a senior?
Don't know. I don't know if he is a senior or not.
I-
Doesn't matter, though. Everything I've seen online is like, don't count Syracuse out because when they come tournament time, no one's seen this 2-3 zone.
Yeah, they'll win 2 games, then Houston or somebody like that will beat them. Now, if they get past Houston, they're a definite threat to get to the Final Four because then they're not going to be playing a 1 seed. They're going to be playing Loyola or Oregon State. So this is their Final Four game, I think, is against the Cougars,
Houston.
the Cougars of Houston.
And Houston had to come back to defeat Rutgers.
All right, here is who Phi Slamma is. Don't take it off yet. I'm going to read it to you, Tanner, for you folks at home. I know you've been looking at it for a minute. It was the name given to the men's college basketball teams, the Houston Cougars from 82 to 84, coined by former Houston Post writer Thomas Bonk. The nickname was adopted by the players and even appeared on the warm-up suits by the middle of the 82-83 season. So, it's a play on, the Greeks, what are they called?
Sorority?
Yeah, sorority or fraternity names.
It's fraternity.
So the
for
name
men.
of, obviously, Phi's in a lot of them, but Slamma Jamma is definitely not Greek letters. But the teams were coached by Guy Lewis and featured future Hall of Fame players, top 50 players, Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler. They were the Texas tallest fraternity and was especially known for its slam dunk and explosive, fast pace. Couldn't mess with them. Tanner's what they're saying. Phi Slamma Jamma. All right, you can go back.
They need to have cool nicknames like that again.
We don't.
You don't. Think about it.
We've run
Fab
out.
Five.
Mm-hmm.
That was a cool nickname, but it fit them. Phi Slamma Jamma. But see, no one thinks about that. All they ever talk about are one and done.
Do you know who the Fab Five are?
No.
Ever heard of that? That phrase? Have you
I've heard
the
of
phrase?
it before, but I don't.
Oh, no.
Could you name the Fab
Tanner.
Five?
Could I name all of them?
Most people can't. I definitely can.
Chris Webber, Juwan Howard,
3 are easy.
Jalen Rose.
Yeah.
The other 2 are the hardest
Mhm.
because those 3 were the ones in the limelight. And I promise you, I can't remember the other 2.
Jimmy King, not Ray King. And Ray Jackson. I get those 2's names. I always call them the opposite of each other. I always call them Jimmy Jackson and Ray King. But it's Ray King and Jimmy King and Ray Jackson. There were 5 starters for the 91, 5 freshmen in the 91 Michigan team. Basically, this kind of like, hell, it's almost like Duke's team a few years ago with Zion and all of them.
Except
close
those
to
were
it.
the 3.
Right.
There was 3 of them.
So it was basically these 3 main ones, and then the other 2 freshmen that came along too. So that's why they were.
I think that's why people remember Weber, Rose, and Juwan Howard so
Right,
easily.
they went pro.
They went pro,
Right.
yeah. And not only that,
Weber's an all-timer. Rose and Howard were good contributors.
right. I was
In
gonna
the
say,
NBA.
Chris Webber was very good. I remember him in his Sacramento Kings days. But that was like when I was coming up, though. And Jalen Rose, I didn't remember him more for his basketball. Most people know him now because he does a lot of on-air stuff at ESPN. And then Juwan Howard, I caught him in his later years in the NBA. And then obviously he went into coaching. He was in the NBA coaching carousel for a little while. I was like an assistant, but
He was his style and play was like a poor man's Tim Duncan. If that gives you, he played pretty much kind of like Duncan, but not that good. Rose is, I compare
Jalen Rose played for the Pacers, didn't he?
Yes, and a couple other teams, but mostly Pacers.
I was gonna say, I think he was there with Reggie.
Rose is 6'8", left-handed point guard. He was supposed to be the next Magic Johnson. Him and Penny Hardaway. Neither one of them obviously, had that type of a career, but they were both very good. 6'8" point guard, kind of, LaMelo Ball maybe, but to me they both shot better than him. Maybe he gets it together, but Jalen Rose he's got a classic good shot. He just wasn't. I don't think he was ever quick enough. Like Penny could dunk better than Jalen. Jalen didn't have explosive. He was more. Put it this way: how about a 6'8" Kendall Marshall?
There you go.
Would that make you kind of
Assist man, he can get you
understand
some
a little
shots. I mean, he might go out there and average like maybe 12.
he shot
and,
better than him.
12 and 8.
I don't want to say, but I'm just trying to picture a big lefty running the point guard, kind of just to give you an idea. But he shot better than him. But then Kendall obviously played longer. But Weber was
Yeah, Kendall Marshall's part of North Carolina's coaching staff.
Weber was a better Juwan Howard, but a worse Duncan. You get me?
Mm.
He didn't have the 3-point shot Rasheed Wallace had. He was a better passer than Rasheed. Rasheed's a better defender and a better shooter.
And let's be honest, a lot of people remember Chris Webber because he made the blunder. He did.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he called the phantom timeout.
Well, but what are the the odds / like the people that don't believe or do believe in karma can look at that play all at one time. Like he traveled like crazy when he got the rebound. And the refs didn't call it, and then 10 seconds later he's over here or 5, 7, 8 seconds later he's over calling timeout with none left. Just an amazing play.
And guess who they lost that championship to?
Clemson.
Oh, huh?
I don't know what you were talking
It's
about.
basketball. Yes, and guess who the Fab Five lost that NCAA championship to?
He said Clemson.
Basketball.
Carolina.
You right?
Nobody lost anything to Clemson in basketball.
No.
Um,
Clemson didn't even get out of the first round of this year's tournament.
Dean's other championship was tarnished by the other team messing up too.
How about Georgetown?
Yeah, Jimmy Black threw it. I mean, Sleepy Floyd, or was it Sleepy or the other kid threw it straight to James Worthy.
Yeah,
Stole the ball. Worthy overplayed the ball. He looked the other way, came back to swing the ball, and Worthy and the guy had like switched places, and he let it go right to Worthy. Like I could just tell what happened was he looked this way and completely, did not look at what was going on back this way and came back to swing the pass, and where's James Worthy?
The Jordan shot.
Yeah,
what made that famous.
Yeah, it did. All right, so right now, Hunter, reassessing your bracket. Who's your pick?
I know that's what sucks, man. Is with Illinois knocked out, my champion's wrong. Gonzaga, I guess I would still have making the championship because I had Gonzaga, Illinois in the finals. But I don't.
Okay.
I'm not one of these guys that. And look,
Who'd you have coming out of the South? Ohio State, Baylor.
I had Baylor.
State,
I had Baylor. I had Baylor coming out of the South. Mine was almost chalk. I tried not to. I had 3 1s and a 2. I had Gonzaga, Bama, Baylor, and Illinois. I still could see Gonzaga making it to the finals. It has to be. But I'm not one of those persons that I'm not going to be until they actually cut down the damn nets who's going to pick Gonzaga over the field. I'm not going to do it. I just don't see that happening. But I feel like it's going to bite me in the ass. But regardless, I think basically who I have left in my Final Four, that means Baylor would have to make it. Or who do I even think is going to take Illinois' place out of the Midwest? Do I think Houston makes it, or do I think Houston gets beat by Syracuse? And Syracuse damn makes it. Could you imagine how crazy Terry's going to go if Syracuse makes the Final Four and no Big Ten team does? Tom's going to hate his life. Tom won't show up Saturday. He said he'll get text messages all week from Terry, and he'll say, "I've had enough." But I'm gonna go.
Yeah. He has issues.
He doesn't he?
Like it doesn't make no sense. I want for Christmas.
He was just picking on it.
For Christmas next year, we're gonna buy him a shirt, an ACC shirt.
That's it. Yeah, no team, just ACC.
And all the team. Well, we can put all the team. Either way, a conference shirt. He gets a conference shirt
because he loves the conference. Until you talk about Duke or North Carolina,
like
he loves the conference.
Here's what's funny: he's bragging about the ACC having one team in it. How many other conferences have more than one right now?
The Big 12's got more than one. The SEC's got.
Like, what are we talking about?
Actually, let me see. So the Big 12 has got. Let me look at who else is playing today.
What is Syracuse in? Aren't they in the ACC?
Yeah, they're in the ACC. They're the only one. Big 12's got 2. The Pac-12 has got 2 or 3. They got 3 left. SEC's got 2 or 3 left. Actually, I think the Pac-12 might have 4. Let me look at it. Let me see who's advanced. Oregon State is Pac-12. UCLA is still in it. Colorado is Pac-12. They're still in it. And Oregon, they've got 5 because Oregon won today, but Southern Cal plays.
Everybody talks a lot of shit about Pac-12 sports, don't they?
Yeah, because nobody on the East Coast stays up and watches their ass. But they've got 5 left. And you could almost say Gonzaga's in the Pac-12, but it's just because they're the only one representing the West Coast Conference. But that's a West Coast team. The Big Ten has got Michigan left and Maryland, along with nobody, I don't think.
I'd like to see Maryland beat Alabama.
I would like to see that if Maryland was an ACC team, but they're traitors.
I like to see Alabama lose everything because they have the worst colors in the world and they should be ashamed of themselves. And you both are wearing their colors today.
This is Texas A&M colors.
It's the same poop red.
No, this is maroon.
Poop
I
stool.
hate Alabama with the passion, so
We got an Alabama hat on.
no.
Yeah, but I don't understand why you have a gripe of hating Alabama other than just a Clemson fan.
Are you talking to me or him?
Him.
Oh, Tanner. I don't like their colors. I don't like their helmets are garbage.
Well, that's football.
It's
This
a
is
number.
basketball.
I don't like, well, God, a brown basketball court maroon together? That's even worse.
What about Virginia Tech?
Hey, I'm not through. What's their name? Crimson
Tide.
What's their logo?
An elephant.
The fuck? Like, what? That whole thing about
Yeah.
Alabama is garbage. Like, who? Honestly, if I'm a recruit and you come to me, you want to go to Florida? Florida State? Miami? Or you go to Tuscaloosa? They are paying well under the table to come to Tuscaloosa to wear that garbage ass uniforms and colors and not be near the Gulf of Mexico beach. Maybe Tuscaloosa is, I don't know, but it's Alabama. It's not Miami. How is Miami not the best team every year? I don't know. USC is on that, or was on that end, because they had all the recruits coming there.
I don't know.
Weather is a big thing. It should be for. I mean,
Well, you would think it would be, especially for sports that are played outside. But if you're an inside sport, it probably don't matter. Like basketball, the only thing you would want is probably just to go
trust
for
someone who
the
lived
area.
in Boone, North Carolina for 5 years. It matters. Have we ever had? Think about any of our other recruits besides football. We used to get good football players because we were 1AA, so we got the kids that either were transferring out, going somewhere, or school wise. But now you're competing with everyone else. Like, why are you coming to Boone unless you're on a colder ski team? Like, there would be like the basketball players, baseball players, soccer, like baseball. Do you want to practice baseball in snow up until April?
No, probably not.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
baseball's like one of the worst sports to play in the cold.
right. So it highly affects those. As far as the basketball, it's a depression thing, Hunter. It's you go outside and it's cold for 6 months. But now, if you're from the app should recruit people from like New York. Don't recruit people from Florida. Recruit people that's up north, used to it. Bring them down here to the mountains. Hey guys, you're used to it. It's a little bit more elevated. You'll get some snow, some hills. But like getting the studs from the south, it's tough for them. With that, just going to, so Tanner, I'd go to spring break for a week, surrounded by nothing but people in bikinis and swim trunks, and a few fellas would get naked. But besides that, you come back, you're on the beach, you're hot, you got a nice suntan, you come back to class, and it's 42 degrees, and there's still snow on the ground from 3 weeks ago, and the wind's blowing. And you put your Columbia coat on, and you bundle up, and you're just like, is this really worth it? While I stand here waiting on the Apple cart, how they combine app and PAL, so it's your app PAL cart. That's the bus up there. You waiting on the Apple cart to come take you somewhere? No, it's not worth it. Because what you do is you're sitting there on that. I was in school when Facebook come out, so everybody just met at spring break is posting all their post spring break pictures and stuff. And you're sitting there cold, like, I want to go to the beach. The Wilmington people hated it up there. I'll just say that they did. I'm not saying it's a bad place to be. If there's certain reasons to be there, and there's certain reasons not to be.
I like the mountains some, but I hate the cold weather.
Yeah, it's the wind. The wind. Listen, the wind is the problem. The summers are fantastic up there. Going swimming in the creeks and riding some falls and stuff. That's fun. But it's the wind in the winter that makes it bad. All right. Let's talk a little. Any more on the NCAA tournament?
Nah. We've got 5 minutes to the next game starts. Gonzaga and
Roughly,
Oklahoma.
we can give an update at the end of the show on that one.
Yep.
All right, I want to talk a little baseball. Real quick, I want to go through the Yeti schedule, and then I want to talk some baseball bats. These things are cool. Tuesday, which is tomorrow, we got a doubleheader for Yetis versus Walters State College, a nationally ranked team. Yetis are 9-11 on the season, Hunter. 9-9 on the road. 0-3 at home. Still looking for our first win. Got 2 shots at it tomorrow. Then they'll play Saturday doubleheader against Wake Tech. Sunday against Wake Tech again. The next Tuesday, 1 game against Rockingham Community College is what I have on my schedule, but that may be a doubleheader as well. And then they got a road trip or a week off. May even be a spring break. There's a week between games before they'll be back home. And then 2 weeks after that, they'll be on the road for 2 weeks. So that's probably what's going on. They'll have going on the road there. We're going to have fun with that coming up next week. Let's see. Baseball. All right, Tanner, see if you can pull up my page again. Not the one with the cameras. I ruined that one. Just click the one that says internet. Right above the one with the cameras. You're right there. All right, couple of things. So I asked you about the axe handle earlier. Let's see if I lost the description of that. I probably did. I'll go ahead and do that. So the axe handle baseball bats, instead of being round, they're cut like an axe handle. I don't know if you're familiar with what I'm saying. There was a reading here a minute ago I wanted to read. But basically it's built that they fit your hands better. Okay. Is the idea behind it as far as rotating around, that the bottom of a baseball bat isn't actually designed to do that. I guess
unless you put pine tar on it.
Right. So you see that?
Yeah.
So you can tell.
It's just the base.
Right. It's just the base of that. I just wanted to make note of that, just as one option that you can get. I there was one at the store that was for sale for my kids, and I about bought it last year. I should have. I just didn't want to spend the extra money. I don't want to spend $40 extra. But for a T-ball bat at that point,
Right. But
just swinging it in the store feels fantastic. I liked on mine. See, some guys, if you'll see that bat right there, a lot of guys don't. Tanner, did you take the tape, or how did you guys tape your bats? Did anybody did anybody take the handles off and then retape it with like athletic tape? Was that a thing, or did y'all use the handles that came with it, or
usually use the handles that came with it? But some people would like take theirs off and put other like grip on it, not just like tape, but they'd put like
other type of baseball grips. You
like
buy
the lizard grip.
Right.
That's what a lot of people used for us.
So back when I was playing, there wasn't no such thing as that stuff, right? Like you couldn't get the fancy back grip or whatever. So what I learned and figured out one day, I was playing tennis with my sister, and the grip on the tennis racket. You ever had a tennis racket grip? It's so soft, you just grip the crap out of it. And I was like, oh, this feels good. So I took I took it just to try it out and bought some tennis racket tape and double wrapped my bat. And my bat was double handled, basically double wrapped and just thick, and it was squishy too. And so instead of being a hard type of bat, and then when I rotated my hands, it rotated better. I loved it. Went to best my senior year, and this kid they were hitting with my bat apparently during fourth period. Before I got there, I left it in the locker room, and one of the kids on the team didn't like the handle and took the handle off and taped it with his own self with athletic tape. You've never seen me get so mad at someone than that day right there. Like, how do you mess with someone else's $300 or $400 bat and take my handle off? Like F you, dude. Anyway, I brought this up. I wanted to show you guys. This is new bat company called Victus. So have you ever seen these? Have you ever seen any type of custom bats before? No. So you can print on anything now. Now they figured out how to print on these. Instead of just printing words and stuff, let's make these bats cool and fancy. So as the internet slowly pulls up here for you folks, this company that's doing the one for Tatis is called Victus Sports. Crap. Slow as Christmas. Wonder why I'm connected down to the one at the end of the hall. Hey, we're getting fiber optic. They just ran the wires.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
They just put them in the building. They got to come in and put the system in, actually.
Heck yeah.
So
you want to talk about internet speeds.
Should speed up some of our issues in here. When we got 2 routers. The biggest problem is the radio station. and the radiation it pulls out. All right, so as the folks at home can see how slow so when I'm on the wireless, I mean it's almost bad as dial up. It seems like sometimes.
So you know what? Yeah, sometimes it is.
My battery's very low. Maybe that's the problem. Anyway, I'm trying to pull up these cool. Hey, Tanner, go in here and get the plug-in off that computer. Well, never mind. Now it died. Give me this. Tanner, go in there and get the power for that computer, and I'll pull it up in here. Well, anyway, Hunter, I want to just show you these cool Fernando Tatis bats.
Mm-hmm.
And Junior or whatever. Well, I guess when you're paying $300 million, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
It's on ESPN. I might as well just get it there. It's the power cord for the silver computer. It'll be a square, the one in your hand, right hand, is what it is. And I have wasted so much time trying to figure out and find this for you folks. And it's just, the internet fails me. Here's the Victus Sports when I pull these up. How about that?
Custom Pro Bats.
MLB. All right. While we're looking at that, I did see something. How's your Braves looking on the? Are you still favorites in the East now? Or?
I think we are one of the favorites in the East still. The Mets have made a lot of moves. Obviously, with them having a new ownership group, he's not afraid to spend the kind of money that he wants. Mm-hmm. I think he's mad though that he missed out on the Trevor Bauer deal. I know they were one of the suitors for him, but he ended up going to the Dodgers because probably deeper pockets, and he probably got the deal that he really wanted. For us, though, I think we're in a good spot. The problem is we're going to have to find somebody that fills the Nick Markakis spot. He did, in fact, retire. So we don't have Nick Markakis anymore to play in the outfield or to bat maybe around the 6th or 7th spot, which is fine. You know, I was actually very disappointed with my last seeing of him in the when it was in the playoffs. I was not impressed with what he did in the playoffs at all. But overall, I think Atlanta's in a really good spot. And I was reading a report the other day. Soroka is doing very good on his rehab, coming back off of that Achilles tear. So if we could get him available at some point, doesn't have to be at the beginning of the season because we know it's a marathon. It ain't a sprint. Mm-hmm. All right, this is not the 62 games that were played last year. It's still going to be about 150 to 160 games this year. If we can get him at some point, maybe after 40 or 50 games, let him get completely healed up and rested and the A-OK from the doctors, I don't see why we wouldn't be favored because I think we would have the best pitching rotation in that National League East. So that's just me.
I mean, competition-wise, just Mets or?
I can't take anything away from the Nationals. I can't. No, I don't think so. I can't take anything away from the Nationals. I don't think the Phillies are there, obviously. But I think the Nationals still will be very competitive like they were last year. I thought they would hurt more after losing Rendon last year to the Angels. They really didn't hurt as much as I thought they would. Obviously, Juan Soto is very good. He's very hard to pitch around. And when he does get a hold of the ball, we know the guys...
Crush quotient.
He's
batting 280.
Yeah, he's amazing. That's what Buster Olney wants to paint off. But he is good. I'm not going to take anything away from him. He is good. Just I look at their.
What if in another sport, Hunter, we said, let's say basketball. You know what? Like home run. We're not going to use points. We're not going to use assists. We're not going to use rebounds. We're going to use leadership quotient. Draymond Green is the greatest player. Who cares if he averages 7, 5, and 5?
Well, think about
the triple single. He's better than Rasheed Wallace and Tim Duncan. All of the great power forwards.
What me and you keep complaining about when people say you can't use batting average as like a margin anymore. I'm like, well, what if we looked at basketball and say, well, we can't count field goal percentage anymore? What do you mean you're shooting? Who cares if you're shooting 43% from the 3-point line? You suck. Who cares, dude? Like, what's your WAR, bro?
What's your WAR?
What's your WAR? Bro? Are you really shooting? Oh, you're shooting 43 from the 3. You're shooting about 48 to 50% from the floor and 86% from the free throw line, bro. You're ass, dude. Because your WAR is like 3. All right.
Check out that bat.
What the?
It's got his face on it, doesn't it?
And his dreads.
It does look pretty sick.
So custom bats, get your face painted on it. Here's a Yankees kid's bat with this kid's face on it, and I'm wearing a mask.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why people don't do more with baseball bats.
Cool,
I mean, if anything, you could just dip it if you wanted to get it multicolored.
That's pretty much, yeah. It's pretty much. Here's Bryce Harper. I think it's a Joker bat or something like that. Is he called the Joker?
Shoot, probably because he really ain't that good at baseball, but he's made a lot of money. He is a Joker.
No, it's the Philly Fanatic.
Oh, is it the Philly?
Yeah, it's the Philly Fanatic on his bat.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna take that back. Bryce Harper is a good baseball player. The problem is he's in the same position that Mike Trout is in, where you get paid a bunch of money, but
this is him hitting as a kid.
You're not the defining factor on whether or not y'all win.
You want to see him swing as a teenager?
Hmm.
Looks like he's from Bandy's.
Damn, look how small he is compared to what he is now.
Looks like Tanner Albert.
I mean, that's what steroids will do to you, but...
You talking about that right
kidding.
there? Look, I just went straight to
Yeah. No, that's what's called a couple $1 million, and the best damn personal trainers in the world will get you.
You don't think he takes steroids?
I probably don't have
Probably
to
doesn't
anymore.
have
They
to.
probably take... I tell you what they probably do is some type of HGH that it can't be detected. We don't know. I'm just, they're doing stuff. There's the painter. Here's some Philly.
So is it like hand painted or?
It looked like it. That guy. Let's see what that guy was doing. Victor Sports artist Bruce Tatum at work,
like
airbrushing.
Okay. Still,
Look at one looks like a pencil.
Yeah. Still, I mean,
That's awesome.
That thing those can't be cheap.
No,
Because they're anything that's custom made can't be cheap. He's not just selling that on an Etsy store online.
Those airbrushes are hard to use too.
Rule 3.02 of MLB rulebook rules no colored bats may be used in a professional game unless approved by the rules committee. It says, but rules are made to be broken.
Damn right they are.
But like
that's like when the NFL try to put a ban on certain types or how much celebrating you can do. And how you can't wear custom cleats and stuff. It's like, okay, no fun league. That's how I feel about any type of rule that tries to take out some sort of individualism of the player. It's like, all right, no fun league.
So it says Harper used a red, white, and blue bat and homered off Madison Bumgarner. And then baseball found out about it and wouldn't let him the next year. And he tried to do it. So they're not actually being allowed in games.
But they probably for BP.
They're hitting them. They're using them in BP. That's
who cares?
What we're going at.
Jeez. Way to go, no fun league. All of them are the no fun leagues.
Just painted
the only one that's not a no fun league to me is the NBA, because they at least let them express themselves and do individualism and whatever they want. They can have custom basketball shoes all they want. Sometimes them things look sick. All right, could you imagine how much people would really pay attention to like custom football cleats? Whenever they do the was it my cleats my cause thing, where they make the cleats for like one of the.
This is awesome.
What?
I didn't even think about it. Fungos. Fungo bats.
Fungo bat.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's when you can use them. $250.
No, thank you.
The
dude.
Fungo's $150.
Okay.
Stars and Stripes for $225.
Are those already made?
Yeah, these are pre-made
Okay.
like designs.
All right.
So you can buy.
So
some
that's not one that's custom made.
No, this says Go Irish. Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I just thought you guys might think that's neat.
I think it's very cool. I like things that can be customized.
I think they should at least allow them to use them in games, though.
And I'll tell you what, it'd be fun.
You can't use white ones like that. That wouldn't be fair. You'd kill a third baseman.
Well, then you
like they outlawed those in almost every level of baseball. Like you
allow
can't use white.
people to use white armbands.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have anything white in baseball. Arms, or bats or gloves or anything like that to help fool people. We had them. I remember playing them one time with about 13 years old. TPX made this. It's one of the most famous bats they ever made. It was a white bat. And it had black letters on it. It was sweet. And then they outlawed it like a year or two after that. But I'll never forget that white TPX. And of course, like, batting practice, it doesn't really matter. That's your mouse there, Tanner. All right, I just want to talk about a couple of that.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. If you could somehow get the purists and the fuddy-duddies to get over themselves and let them use custom bats, I mean, why not? It's not like they're putting anything illegal in the bats. Now, if they are, it's a different story. But if you're just painting on them, what
he accused McGuire of?
No,
he said he's corking his bats too.
Okay,
they'll use aluminum bats and take the thing off and use tennis balls. Put tennis balls on the inside.
His quote was that he was corking his bats every game, and then Ozzie Guillen responded to him, "That's impossible." So, like, that's what Jose. It was something like to the effect of, like, is he sitting there in there with cutting out wood before games? No, but he's almost never wrong. I just want to read you because the A-Rod stuff.
I know.
Here's one from yesterday. Good morning to everyone, especially Jennifer Lopez. He's a nut. Here you one. Aliens find us to be a minimal threat because we have not learned how to time travel by folding time. That was last week.
What does he take, man?
He's just telling you. Steroids.
I know that. I was listening to an interview. No shit.
I can also tell you the value of Bitcoin 3 years from now.
Okay.
I have time traveled into the future, and only one species will survive, whatever that means.
I don't know.
Everything I've ever predicted has come out to be 100% accurate. I understand science as well as the supernatural.
Is this man on crack?
I live on a different plane than most of you. He's telling you right there.
He's on. Yeah. Okay.
By the way,
He might be on acid.
By the way, I am not a witch. I am a warlock.
Yeah, because witches are females, warlocks are males.
I guarantee that A-Rod will try to get a hold of my ex-wife Jessica very soon if he has not done so by now. Jennifer Lopez, I would fight for you, but I have 2 torn shoulders and a bad knee from my last fight. J-Lo needs a man that will be by your side 24/7, who is older than you are, and it's broke. I fit that category perfectly. I'm your man.
I was listening to an interview they did with Jose Canseco. It was Pardon My Take, and they were doing it. And they asked him. They said, "So do you think people should take steroids?" He said, "Absolutely." He said, "I think everybody should at least try it."
Who said that?
Jose.
Yeah.
He said, "Absolutely. If you're like in your 30s and a male," he said, "Absolutely, you should take it."
I mean, if you're not getting tested for
right.
it, like,
he said, "Absolutely." He said, "Just consult your doctor. You should take it. Absolutely."
That's where I think there's going to be a HGH boom in a few years, to where it's already been happening, or something like gummies or the cream, like whatever Barry Bonds is doing, something like that. And it's going to come out that everybody was doing it. We're going to have another thing, and then they're just going to say, I hate to be the one, I'm on both sides of the fence. Like, how do you tell people or keep the things out, but you don't want the competition not to be natural. You also don't want, like say, if you're you don't want people to have to take the things to make it. Like, if you're in college or AA, and all your teammates are taking it, you're not. You're not.
They're ahead above you.
Unless you're King Griffey Jr. He says he never felt he needed to, and there's a lot of people that will play by the rules of the game. That will do it by that. But there's a lot of people who are like, if I want to make $10 million, I'm going to put this in my butt, and then I'm going to make $10 million, and I can worry about that when I'm 35.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people will do that. Like, what other job are you going to make that type of money? No. There aren't any.
Listen, there's a lot of pressure to make it at that level. Because think about it. Do you really want to be the guy that's known as a career minor league guy? You played, 5-6 years in the minors, never got called up. You really aren't making that kind of money that think you really need to make. Like you might have you might have a job that you work in the winter and the off season just because you're really still not making that kind of money in the minors. Like you don't want to be that guy. There's a lot of pressure once you start getting to a certain amount of levels. You don't want to be the guy that they look at and say, well, you've kind of peaked. Like you're AA material. I don't know if you'll even make it to AAA or the majors. Like you don't want to be that guy. So you always want to have that leg up if you can get it. And I think that's what somebody was talking about when they said for A-Rod, when he took steroids, it came down to just the pressure of him being A-Rod still. Yeah. You know, like as he started to age and just the pressure of him to consistently play at a high level. And especially when he got to New York, like it was just a lot of pressure. And so think about that for a guy that's not A-Rod, who wants to get to that level and make that kind of money.
McGuire's point on it was for him it was recovery. So, and one thing you have to look at is that 162 game season. Before they got there, people don't understand that baseball players were jacked up on amphetamines. They probably still are. They called them greenies. They had buckets of them in the locker rooms. You walked in, picked up a handful. They said it wasn't like it was like. They had gummy bears. It wasn't like it was not that nobody knew about it. And so, and Mickey Mantle, I think that was a big case about, he was an alcoholic and was he drinking to take some of the pain away? Back then they didn't have like the type of medications and things
they don't have the recovery stuff that we do now with cryo chambers and whatever.
So 160 games is a ton of baseball.
Sometimes with your doubleheaders. Yeah, and you playing every other day.
Tanner, just think about all the baseball practice you go to, and in high school you play, 30, 35 games?
Yeah.
Feels like a long time, don't it?
Yeah.
During that 30, 35 games, are your hands not calloused? Or is your shoulder or elbow or something not hurting throwing? You've been hit by a baseball at some point. You've got a strawberry from diving and sliding. That's 35 games. Think about doing that 5 times that a year. Every year.
College don't even play that many games.
It's a ton of
college plays about the same amount of games high school teams play.
A ton of baseball.
We played a lot of games when it was post-82 season.
Yeah. They'll play 40, 50 games.
We went 49-4.
Yeah. Some teams will play like 25 games to make the World Series or 20 games. Some teams will play 60.
Right.
There is no like set number on what you can do.
That's part of the reason why we lost in regionals, because we played too many games.
Think so?
Yeah.
I mean, then you're pitching worn out. There's all kinds of things. All right. I guess the big news. Let's see. Brown assistants. Mac Brown got an extension. I don't know how that's gonna work or how long he's gonna be there.
I don't know. I don't think
Carolina,
it's a problem.
At some point, they got 2 70-year-old coaches.
At some point, they got to think what happens whenever they decide to walk away. You got to have somebody in the waiting. I feel like they do when it comes to basketball. I think it is Hubert Davis. I think a lot of people think it might be Hubert Davis's team when Roy walks away. But when it comes to football, but here's the thing. I think I don't think they intended for Mac Brown to kind of just come back and say, I want to coach and fall in their lap. I think after the Larry Fedora thing went wrong, if Mac Brown doesn't decide to come out of retirement and come off of the television, I think they might have went out and looked for someone younger. Like I wanted them to go out and get Cliff Kingsbury, or at least offer him the head coaching job. But obviously he's with the Cardinals now as the head coach. I don't know, someone young. Maybe Tom Herman was just fired by the University of Texas. He's somewhere. I think he went to Arizona to be a part of that coaching staff. Regardless, I'm just saying, I think if Mac doesn't come out and say I want to coach again, they probably go in a different direction. Maybe with someone younger and give them an opportunity.
I would almost force them to have a assistant coach.
Oh, force him and Roy to have the guy that's
not necessarily
an
Roy,
assistant head coach,
right? Or a guy in training, like Josh McDaniels is going to take over the Patriots, or however they do.
You would expect, yes.
But like again, Hunter, when Mac Brown leaves, is it a hole, or are they prepared?
Right.
Because what's the end game with him coming into town, other than him at the end of the day? Is he going to walk away with $50 million and no ACC championships and no nothing, and he's the only one sitting there sitting big and pretty.
See, they're not,
and then he leaves, and then you're back to the bottom.
They're not prepared like how Ohio State was prepared. Ohio State obviously had Urban Meyer, and when Urban Meyer decided...
It's a little different name of a program, too.
It is a different name, but I'm just saying Urban Meyer was there, and when he stepped away, he said, well, Ryan Day's going to take over. He's been with me for a few years now. Right. So he had him basically, and he knew he was ready to take over that spot. And I look around, and I'm like, another one we could talk about that's of a prestige program is, like when Nick Saban says he wants to hang it up in Alabama. Mm-hmm. They go through coordinators every year taking other jobs. I don't know anybody that's in the waiting to take the Alabama job. Mm-hmm. You could almost say the same thing about Clemson. I don't know if Dabo's going anywhere, but...
He'll be Greg McElroy will be the next
Alabama coach. I think it'll be Greg McElroy of Alabama. I don't know about that, but Venables, maybe the defensive coordinator at Clemson. Yeah. Venables... He's had head coaching opportunities, but he decided not to take him to stay at Clemson. I don't know if it's because he's talked with Dabo and says, when you're leaving, you got the head coaching job. But
he stayed there a while because his son plays.
Yeah, his son does play on the defensive side of the ball, too. So I don't know if you're North Carolina. Extending Mack Brown, to me, is a good thing because the program is getting national recognition, not just for basketball now, it's for football. It's becoming kind of an attractive place to play. I think him, especially on the defensive side of the ball, having Dre Bly being one of their secondary coaches, very attractive because I've seen multiple recruiting classes North Carolina has had, and they've had top 2 or 3 cornerbacks and safeties in the country kind of commit to them. So it's...
Hunter, if... Right now, as a 24-year-old North Carolinian, the leader of your basketball, football teams, and the president of the United States are all in their 70s.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's 50 years.
I know.
Of discourse. And we're what, 7, 8 years ago? Tanner's 10 years, 15 years younger than me, and he has no idea who half the musicians are that's ever in the world. Like... But, like, you see what I'm saying? Like,
I know.
These are 50 years away from these 22-year-old players. Like, they ain't got jack shit in common with any of these people, with anybody.
No, that's like how I just said. He brings on the Dre Bly who can talk to these kids.
Like, these coaches, Hunter, they didn't have TV and radio, basically, when they were your age. Like, that's how old it is. We're talking about tweeting each other and,
the problem
and social media TikToking.
The problem is you look and this is dead ass. This is a problem.
Yes.
Think about it. If you want to run for the president of the United States, how old do you have to be? I think you have to be 35.
35.
Okay. But even still, if someone wanted to run at the age of 36, they're going to look at you and say, well, you're not experienced enough. Mm-hmm. You just don't know enough. And they say the same thing about the young guys. That's how the NFL was for years. Anybody that was like sub 50 years old, they didn't want to give you a head coaching job. Right. Now it's completely different. If you've known or had lunch with Sean McVay and you're in your 30s, we want to give you a head coaching job.
Just think about it, Hunter. Everything you've done in your life,
it's just they look at their age and they're like, experience matters.
So you could quit everything you've done in your life right now and just stop. Get into football coaching, and maybe in 45 years from now, you could be coaching the Tar Heels.
Maybe.
Like, is that what you would want to be doing at 40? I know. Again, at what point? This is like like we said with the baseball players. When do you cash in? If the only time in your life is to make $10 million at 75 years old, I guess you take it.
You got to take it.
But what are you going to do with that money and that time and that
at that age?
Like at 73 years old or whatever and all the money he's making, he should be getting paid $100.
Well, for how much he has,
$1. Because the state of North coming out of whoever's pockets is coming. I know the boosters say it's not coming out of the taxes. Bull crap. I don't believe that for 1 second.
Right.
The highest paid employee in North Carolina is Roy Williams, I think.
Mm-hmm. Because Duke is private.
Yeah, Duke's private. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. As a school employee or someone whose pension is going to be millions of dollars when you retire, whatever it is, how about take $1 salary, Chief?
Mm.
And how about this? Use that money and pay for some scholarships for some kids.
Well, no, this is what I've never understood, though, either. Like, I get it. You could get Mack Brown coming out for what he wants because he wants to come back and coach, what the dollar that he would like to get paid. Or you could get an up-and-coming coach who would probably take less just to say that he got a damn head coaching job, you know?
Like,
you would save money there on the school-wise. Mm-hmm. And you would probably get longevity-wise out of the kid or out of the younger coach because, like me and you were talking about, they're in their late 60s, early 70s. Like, how much longer do you really think you want to do this?
Like, if he called Dre Bly the assistant coach for the next 3 years, he would be so set up because then the kids would buy into
when Mac's
Dre
gone,
had success. Dre played for Mac. Dre coached for Mac. Everything is under that lineage. I'm just afraid when they fire him, they're going to hire, Trent Loman down at Bandy's.
He ain't there no more. Remember, he's at East Surrey.
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I know what you mean.
Somebody you've never heard of, and then the recruits are like, I don't know. Why do I care? I hope all the recruits go to Appalachia anyway.
I'm just saying.
Y'all keep hiring 70-year-olds.
Well, see, that's where I was happy when Georgia made the hire for Kirby Smart. It was Kirby had learned and was coaching underneath.
Is he young?
Yeah, he's maybe in his 50s.
That's young.
40s or 50s.
I'm like, when I'm 50, I want to be sitting in a hammock somewhere.
Listen, I could be overshooting that.
Yeah,
I mean, but all I know is
they're all older than you think they are, it seems like, once you look them up.
Right. They're older than you think they are. Let me see. He's 45.
Oh.
Kirby Smart's 45.
He's young.
Yeah.
Whippersnapper.
Compared to a lot of people, yeah, he's young. So
compared to Max, 30 years.
Compared to Nick Saban, too. Like
I did see the stat yesterday that Tom Brady is closer to the average age of an NFL player's parents than he is of the actual NFL player.
Tom Brady is 3 years younger than Kirby Smart, who's the head coach of the University of Georgia. Tom Brady is older than Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, who are both head coaches. And he's older than Matt LaFleur, I think. I could be wrong on LaFleur. LaFleur could be in his 40s. But that just shows you just how old Tom Brady's ass is. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Hunter. This is going to be our segue into the next. The average age of the Oklahoma Sooners starting five is 21.2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
The average age...
Matt LaFleur is younger. He's 41. Go ahead.
...of the Oklahoma City Thunder starting five...
21.
...is 20.6 years old. The Oklahoma Sooners are older than the Oklahoma City Thunder.
That college team is older than the professional team.
And I try to tell you guys, it takes 5 years from a college / high school player to get to their prime. 24, 25 years old is the number.
That's why
Oklahoma City, basically, get this, Hunter, if they're smart and didn't do like the Hornets did, they can build to where 5 years from now, they're a pretty decent team. But then by then, everybody's going to be up for contract.
Yeah. They're gone. Then they're gone.
But so, with that said, looking at the Hornets, too, and what they do and their strategy, which is, I don't know what it is, the NBA, even with a salary cap, has somehow managed, they've put this cap on these teams to try to keep their players.
But they never can.
And it hasn't helped one single bit. A James Harden can demand a trade. And not only, here's what I don't get for anything. If you want out of here, I'm not trading you where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how they have any say.
Right.
Like if they say, I'll just quit. Well, sit down. But I'm not trading you to
Brooklyn, where there's already two superstars.
Like think about it. Like what? So the last 7 years you're okay. I know we changed coaches, but like,
if I was Houston, why would I
just want to join a super team?
If I was Houston, why would I not have picked up the phone to Minnesota and been like, look, James wants out. What y'all want for him? We'll send him to Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Send him to any type of...
Well, everybody's buddy, though.
My place to send somebody was always Toronto, and then San Antonio did it, and they won the championship. I was like, if you bitch about being on my team, right, I'm sending you to Canada. That would be my response.
I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I don't know. They can't keep players. Nobody wants to stay where they're at.
Like, what are the Hornets supposed to do?
The only one that has shown he wanted to stay, but I think that's the European in him, because most European players, when they come over and get drafted, they're very loyal to the team that drafted them. Just ask Parker until the end at San Antonio when he was, I think they released him, and then he ended up with the Hornets. And then same with Manu. Manu played all his years in the Spurs. Dirk did. It looks like Luka could be a forever Maverick if they get the pieces around him. And then Giannis. I mean, look at Giannis now. He signed a deal to extension to stay in Milwaukee. When, as talented as he is, he could have gone somewhere else.
So what's a team like? Let's see. You mentioned the Dallas Mavericks. They've won a championship.
They've won
major market, right? They've
good, like a sensible owner.
They probably have one of the best facilities in the NBA. With all that, you still have to even mention that Luka could even think about leaving.
Right.
He's what, in his second year? Third year?
Third year.
Again, we say these guys aren't at their best until their fifth year, till 24, 25 years old. So at age 24, 25, the Mavericks draft him, pay him millions, invest him,
and then they could leave.
At his prime, he says, bye. I'm going to play with LeBron and whatever 9 40-year-old guys are playing with each other in 3 years from now. Like, so what are the Hornets supposed to do? What are the the Timberwolves or anyone else? What are these small market teams? If let's say we hit real quick, Hunter, we hit on 3 straight years, 4 straight years of just studs. We hit on the stars. We skipped the draft.
You hit on one, and then you have another great 3 drafts after that. But that first guy you hit, his contract is almost up already, so he could leave, and you just
while the other guys are still not even ready to be stars.
Right.
And then if you're building for that, and we've seen time and time again. Top 3 or let's say you could say top 5 to be safe. One of the top 5 players in the NBA is going to win the title. Is that true or false?
Yes.
Except maybe San Antonio and Detroit, and that's what 2 in the past 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I know San Antonio won more, but I meant 2 teams. But again, like if you don't have a top 5 player in the NBA, it's tough. So you just rebuild, and then they leave. You can't pay nobody, and then after 4 or 5 years, you can't get nobody to come in either. So I'm not confident the Hornets can or ever will be a top 4 seed in the East at any point, unless they make a major trade or something. They have to pull off something.
Well,
they have to pull something off.
You're right. There has to be an aggression factor to it, where you have to go out and you have to not be afraid to ship off players that you like.
What if they try to trade for Harden? Great. He's like, I don't want to go there.
It's too bad.
But we used to, again, like I said, like. You don't only have to trade for a guy.
He has to like it.
Let's say you won't say. You have to basically trade for a B like an Oladipo and hope he blossoms. Someone that will come there and then hope they blossom. As opposed to
you're using
an established star is not coming to Charlotte.
And you're using Charlotte as a good example too, because not only is it you got to hit draft picks, and maybe you got to somehow trade for some sort of B player that turns into a star for your team.
Right.
Like how Kemba, you can say is a B player. Just in that system, he was the star because there was nobody else around him, and he had to do everything himself. Now, with that being said, I'm transitioning over. The same thing goes with all these small market teams in free agency. Look how hard it was for Charlotte to land any type of top 25 free agent.
Let's not one guy in the history of the franchise. I'm talking about since the 70s. Everybody that comes here has been a trade. We haven't signed any big free agents except the
Gordon Hayward.
I guess you can count Al Jefferson too, but they could have matched. I think and they didn't or something. That was something weird with that one. I wasn't. He never made me too thrilled.
I mean, Gordon, and he is still viable as an NBA player.
Right.
He's not at the end of his career yet. He can give you a solid, what he signed for, 4 or 5 years?
I think it was 4.
He can give you a solid 4 years. But the problem is, like you're saying, is he going to re-sign after 4 years when you actually might have something cooking if you get your draft picks right? I don't know. Will PJ Washington and all these other boys, Miles Bridges and whatnot, the guys that you're building with right now, will they even still want to be here after 4 years? Or is it just
that's what makes you mad?
Reset button.
I don't want to be here. I'm like,
reset
power
button.
Do you have?
Like you just have to pull the reset lever every time. But you have these top 5 players, no matter where they go, the team that they go to is basically playoff or / finals bound. Because, see, that's what's so weird about basketball. Because there are only 5 guys on the court, you got one of the top 5 or 10 players, guess what? You're going to be probably successful. More than likely. Because you can have a one-man dominant team. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to win a championship, but you're going to at least be in the conversation and making playoff runs. Hell, Houston did that for years. Even when they first got James Harden, they were making the playoffs consistently. And then they realized, well, we have to get him one more to try and get over the hump. Now, it never worked because even when they brought in Dwight, who was still good at the time, Chris Paul, and Russell Westbrook, it just never manifested. But if you have a top 10 player, it just feels like wherever they go, that team's going to be relevant. But you know what teams they're only going to choose from. The major markets, the New Yorks, the Brooklyns, the Bostons, the Miamis, and the LA teams. Maybe Dallas. Maybe. But that's it. That's the only places they want to go. Think about it. When it was on the radar for trying to land KD, there were only 2 teams talking about they were really going to get him if he didn't re-sign with Golden State. The Knicks and the Nets. And those are both the New York teams. Where's Kyrie going to go after this from Boston? Oh, well, he'll go up to the Nets. You know, James Harden wants out of Houston. What are the teams that are wanting to make a run at him? Well, I think Milwaukee's going to try, but if he has an opportunity to go to the Nets or, I don't know, to the Knicks or
Milwaukee.
To Boston, I mean, exactly.
All right.
We've talked about it before. Why don't they cut out half the teams?
So talking about how you got to hit on your draft picks, I wanted to look at this one specifically. I can pull up the Spurs another time. Spurs, they got lucky. Like, it's all luck. Think about it. I mean, so Robinson gets hurt.
NFL and NBA draft in general is luck. You got. There's, like I told you, for the NFL, even as many picks as there are, only 53% of them work.
Right. So,
I can only imagine what it is for the NBA.
So David Robinson gets hurt, and they have the worst record in the league. They get Tim Duncan. Now, those two with the teams they had, they won 2 championships. With David Robinson was you want to talk about a star being surrounded by scrubs? He was surrounded by scrubs, and they tried to get a few people in there that were okay, but he was so unstoppable that he just carried them. It didn't look like it, they really needed him, but damn, Hunter. I mean, he had Vinny Del Negro was a shooting guard, and Avery Johnson is point guard, and it made the finals. Yeah. So, Duncan came in, they did that, but then they hit on Tony Parker, 28th pick, Ginobili 2nd round, Kawhi 17th pick. They hit on him.
They traded for him. Indiana drafted him. They traded for him.
So I look back at the Pistons, the team I brought up. So here's how they got drafted. Chauncey Billups got drafted 3rd by Boston. He wasn't. Rip Hamilton got drafted 7th by Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Tayshaun Prince got drafted by the Pistons, 23rd. Ben Wallace was undrafted. They got an undrafted defensive player of the year, 4-time All-Star, 5-time NBA, 2-time rebounding champion, undrafted. Rasheed Wallace was 4th overall from another team, the Portland Trailblazers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, from the Washington Bullets. Then the Portland Trailblazers, then Detroit. And their best pick, their only pick in all of that, was number 3, Darko Milicic. Darko was the Pistons' best draft pick, or highest draft pick of the team that won the championship. The only player on there that they drafted.
Mm-hmm.
Just insane. Think about that.
And people are all,
how would the Hornets ever get?
And people are
Chauncey
going
Billups to come here, Rip Hamilton to get here on a trade, and then land Rasheed Wallace, and then undrafted Ben Wallace is the defensive player of the year.
Right.
And we have 9 lottery picks and can't win 40
games. Think about it. That team technically could have had Carmelo.
Right. If Joe Dumars, he needed big man help.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at their roster here.
They technically could have drafted Carmelo Anthony.
So, listen to this. These were their guards, right? Okay, so it was Chucky Atkins, Chauncey Billups, Hubert Davis, Rip Hamilton, Lindsey Hunter, Tayshaun Prince at small forward, Bob Sura. There's 7 people. Bob Sura wasn't bad. I'm not saying he's good.
Right.
But that's 7. Their point was we had 7 people at the guards and small forward position. At power forward, they had Rasheed, Ben Wallace. Then the backups were Mehmet Okur, a 35-year-old Eldon Campbell. And that's it. Tayshawn was the next tallest person on the team, and he weighed $195. So they needed big men. So they drafted the big man instead of Carmelo.
And guess what? It worked out.
It would have been interesting.
Who did Carmelo get drafted to?
The Nuggets.
The Denver Nuggets.
See, that's the Carmelo you don't know. that was Melo before kids today want to talk about LaMelo.
Which we got to bring up today because he's out for the season.
He's getting a second opinion, and I think that's smart because a fractured wrist, depending on because apparently he was supposed to just be out that night for wrist soreness. That's what they had listed.
Right. I fractured both of mine. It was 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah. So I don't think he should. That's why, get a second opinion. You don't need to shut it down. Now, granted, there's not enough. I don't know if that means that's towards the end of the season anyways. How much of the season is left? Is there
half
only
the season?
Okay.
Well, they're doing 72 games, right?
Yeah.
They've played 40.
So would he be, I don't know if he did do just the minimum, the 4 to 6 weeks, would there still be games left, or would that basically mean he does have to just miss the rest of the season?
6 weeks times 3 games a week is 18 games.
I feel like
so that
he
would
could
put
be
him at
back.
58, 60 games if you miss 6 weeks. So,
but okay, I can kind of understand though why someone would say, you know what, we only got 10 games left at that point, maybe, just shut it down. But
well, if he's so damn important, he needs to come back.
Well,
but if he's not, then
now listen, I probably no shit. If I was the Hornets, I would probably see if we could get him back, especially if you're in the hunt. I know you're gonna say, "Wow, what's it matter?" But if you are in the possibility to make the playoffs. That's different.
They've dropped 3 spots in 2 days since we talked Saturday.
I know.
They're under 500, 20 and 21. They're the Knicks are under 500, the 1 spot ahead of them, both 9 games under, 9 games back. Pacers are 3 games. Who's catching them? That's the thing. Is it the Pacers? Bulls, Raptors? It ain't gonna be the Cavs.
I don't know.
But all of those are in the playoffs right now.
And listen, it ain't going to be the Raptors, though.
It's a play-in.
It ain't going to be the Raptors, though, because I saw the Hornets wipe the damn floor with the Raptors.
So the Raptors are right now the Bulls are in. So right now the Hornets would have to play the Knicks for the 7 seed. Loser plays winner of Pacers-Bulls
for the 8
seed. This is the dumbest thing
I know it is
in the history of
Hornets
NBA.
should just lose every game now and try to get a good draft.
Think about it. So, who's sitting at 7 and 8 right now? It's the Knicks and the Hornets right now in the 7 and 8 spot. So say the Knicks win and the Hornets obviously lost, so they have to play the 8 seed, and the Hornets win and get the 8 seed. Well, guess what? You just played meaningless games to get what they're already sitting at 7 and 8.
Right. There's nothing to gain. There's only something to lose. But they don't want but the point I think was they didn't want teams tanking to get in the playoffs. But who is getting the 1 pick with the 13th worst record? That never happens.
No.
What? So what are they fixing? I thought what they were doing was going to play a play-in as the 4 worst teams play for the number 1 pick. Let 7 and 8 in, take your ass whipping, and then how about the 4 worst teams play for the number 1 pick? Winner, you go 1 through 4.
Fine, whatever.
Would that is that better than the lottery?
I guess. I don't know. Listen, I think anything's better than the lottery.
I like the lottery actually. I like it better than tanking football is harder, but isn't it I like the lottery better than the football thing as far as where you're slotted just because you got the worst record, because you can tank, you can affect it. Even if you tank in basketball, you only got a 30% chance of, or was it 27% chance, something like that, of getting it if you got the number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
What is considered a lottery pick?
13, top 13. If you miss the playoffs, you got a lottery pick.
So why don't they just do this? Why don't they have picks 1, 2, and 3 already set based off of who's got the shittiest records in a row, and then after that, everybody else you just draw the ping pong balls off of?
See, I do the reverse. I do the ping pong balls on the 3 or 4 worst records.
That was okay.
and then set everybody else.
Well, okay, then that's fine. Yeah, I do that too.
It's kind of what they do now. They do the top 3 are guaranteed the top 3.
Right, but
you're guaranteed. You're not guaranteed top 3. You're guaranteed top 3 if someone from outside doesn't win it. See what I mean? So like they draw the winner first, and if it's one of your top 3, that team's first, and the other 2 are 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's too
convoluted. Exactly,
but that's how it works. And if a team outside the top 3 gets it in, then it's you're picking lottery across the board on that. But right now, Sixers got Embiid out. Brooklyn has Kyrie and KD out right now.
Lakers have LeBron and AD out.
The Bucks have just Giannis and some people. The Hawks all of a sudden are the 4 seed. They've won 8 straight? Yeah, 8 straight, Hunter. There were 14 and 20.
Well, listen, I thought the Hawks would be better this year regardless because remember how many free agents they were able to sign in this offseason. Like, good Lord. They just brought people in one after another, it felt like, in Atlanta. And eventually, these young guys that they've been able to draft within the top 5 or 6 picks, at some point, they have to hit and start playing. We know what Trae Young is. DeAndre Hunter at some point is going to have to start playing better. They have Cam Reddish. They got good players on the team for Atlanta. At least they were good in college. At some point, like you talked about, Kevin, sometimes it takes 4 to 5 years for them to actually start becoming what they really are in the NBA.
Like Luka Doncic,
so it's about time.
Luka
is different.
Everybody.
Luka is definitely different because I think he's 21.
Well, he played a year or 2 in pro ball.
Oh, I think that you said he played since he was 17 over in Europe as a pro.
Obviously, what's weird about playing overseas is that same thing with LaMelo is that they play over there and they don't get a lot of minutes. But what they do learn, I believe, is the most important thing, I guess, because obviously helped a little bit, is playing with grown men.
Mm-hmm.
In that, you can do certain things, what's respectful, what's not respectful. What did you think about LaMelo talk about LeBron this week? Saying he didn't look up to him like Lonzo did. And I get what he's saying. It's a almost different generation. But again, it's, I don't know, Hunter. What do you think about somebody I just don't see, again, like when people like the big thing they were talking about, like, what if somebody said that about Jordan?
Well,
like that night he would have walked up to that guy and been like, you got to guard me.
It's different, I think, because I could sit here and say I could have all the respect in the world for how LeBron plays and his game, but at the same time, I didn't, me as a basketball fan, I didn't look up to LeBron.
Right. You also don't want to be like, oh God, he's my hero.
Right.
Like we got to compete against each other. I see that point of it.
And
it's different for LaMelo because Lonzo played with him.
Yeah, probably. Who knows? Hey,
listen, LaMelo's different. Guys, we're dealing with this is a different generation, a different type of kid. He's been on TV how long?
Mm-hmm.
This is like a Kardashian or something being an Olympic athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's going on here? Like, so it's but where he's gonna have a lot of different.
Oh, listen, he's
gonna be different.
Him being in Charlotte is a good thing for this. him being in Charlotte is a good thing for this. He's not gonna have nearly as much media picking and choosing like Lonzo did when he first came in. The Charlotte
media will worship you.
Yes,
it is insane. They will not criticize anybody in Charlotte. Charlotte media is under the assumption that, and you've met people like this, Hunter,
mm-hmm.
know people. If I live near it, I got to pull for it. That's the greatest thing. It's the best thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, listen, I know Panthers fans, and they are diehard dedicated for that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just,
and nothing they do is wrong.
No,
but I know some.
They've never done anything wrong.
I have some friends who are at least open-minded enough to know when something that they're doing is wrong or not.
If you can't criticize your team at all, we're not in the same boat.
No, we're not. No.
We're not the same type of people at all. Because
I'll say this though, like for me growing up,
I'm not a Debbie Downer. I'm a realist.
Right.
Is where I want to be.
Yeah,
I want to be a Debbie
that's
Downer.
Me. That's how I am with Washington too. But like when I understand what LaMelo is saying, because if you think about it, kids are gonna. Well, at least for me,
I looked up to somebody, and I know I didn't really play basketball super competitively, but when I played pickup with my friends or like church basketball or something like that, some sort of organized basketball, I know that because of my size and what I can do, I would probably be a guard. So I'm not really going out here trying to, mimic what some of the big guys are doing, like what a LeBron James is doing, what, KD or these guys that are like 6'7", 6'8" are going to do. I'm going to look at guards more. And LaMelo probably knew, hey, I'm going to be a point guard. So that's where I kind of understand where he's coming from, because to me, my favorite player was John Wall. I knew I was not a great three-point shooter, so what would I have to do? I would have to probably be more of a facilitator, and if I wanted to score, I'd have to get to the basket, because I knew that's how I would have to play, because that's what my position was going to be, is a guard. So I can kind of understand where LaMelo's coming from, and especially like you said, competition-wise. I mean, I'm not going to go out there and be googly-eyed over somebody. Like, are you kidding me? If I'm getting paid to play, I'm going to go out here to win. That's the competitive nature in me. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, LeBron. I've always dreamed of this day.
You know what the questions, the one of the major questions, two biggest questions I hate that reporters ask is, talk about that one. Well, that's not even a question. You just say
talk about it.
Or the other one is, how do you feel?
That's mine. Especially in moments like after a loss, they're like, this must have been probably one of the worst losses that you've ever had.
Every time.
You just lost, the national championship. How do you feel? I would love for
somebody to be for real.
I want one of them to look and be like, pretty damn bad.
This sucks.
Like,
what they do is they want you to say something bad, then they'll go to your teammates and be like, Tanner, did you see, Hunter said that, y'all did poor at rebounding. Looked at the stats, you had 2 rebounding. Is he talking about you? Do you need to rebound better? Do you think you should be making public comments about your terrible rebounding, Tanner? That's how it goes. It's weird. It's just talk about. All right, Hunter. Let's see. All right, LeBron's gonna be back, ain't he?
It's a high ankle sprain, but I don't know when he'll be back.
AD's gonna be back
at some point.
Embiid, KD. Mm-hmm. Oh. Everybody's taking a. Ain't nobody hurt.
Well, LeBron's hurt because I saw that roll up and that ankle looked nasty.
He might be hurt because he did just take 10 days off.
Yeah.
But the other guys, I question very much so. I question everybody.
Now, listen, see, with LeBron,
now I'm with you on. I'm questioning why AD has been out for as long as he has. I'm questioning why Kevin Durant has been out for as long as he has. Mm-hmm. Joel, we know he got injury problems, but even still, does he have to be out almost 3 to 4 weeks? I mean, come on. I get it. You kind of want these guys to be well rested before the playoff times, especially if they are injury prone. But nobody playing these 82-game seasons anymore, huh? Are they?
I'm glad Hunter is here as a John Wall fan. Even though I don't think John Wall was on this team.
Which one?
Couldn't have been. Would Kentucky, this is Sports Nation from 2015, would Kentucky beat the 72-10 Bulls? This was a topic on ESPN.
Today?
No, this was in 2015.
Oh! I thought you meant they were talking about
Karl Anthony Towns. Team.
That's not John Wall. John Wall was there with Boogie Cousins and Drew Bledsoe, or not Drew Bledsoe.
Eric Bledsoe. Not Drew. Who was on that team? I see Karl Anthony Towns. Who's the other big guy? I don't know, but this was the actual Hunter. This is the actual tweet. I can't. That dude has got 2 last names too, don't he? Don't both their big men have 2 last names? What was his name?
Oh my God! Hold on. Let's go to roster.
2015 Kentucky.
Karl Anthony Towns, obviously.
Right.
All right, here you go. Karl Anthony Towns, Willie Cauley-Stein.
That's the one. Told you had 2 names.
Devin Booker was on that team.
Oh, he's pretty good.
Yeah, Devin Booker's pretty good.
Stop beating Michael Jordan.
Nope. Trey Lyles,
they try to say Kentucky.
Yes,
Andrew.
The 72 Bulls.
The Harrison.
What are you talking about? NBA team, Hunter.
Harrison brothers.
About college players.
Harrison brothers were on that team. Aaron and Andrew. Yeah, I don't hear them much in the NBA, do I?
So this right here, this right here is how I feel or felt. Even at the beginning of the whole, let's compare LeBron to them thing. Like, The career's not over. What are we talking about here?
All right, get this.
These are grown men.
Devin Booker, 2015, came off the bench for Kentucky. And look at him.
Calipari, it may be the worst coach
but who was
in the history of basketball.
Who was in front of him? It was one of the Harrison brothers.
Has he ever coached a team that wasn't loaded and won anything? Well, how many championships he got? One?
He's got 2.
Was any one of them not loaded?
No, wait, he does have 1. I don't think he won that one with Memphis. Kansas beat him. Yeah, that's
right. He went with Memphis.
He made it with Memphis, but lost to Kansas. Yeah, he's got 1. He won it with Anthony Davis and Michael K. Gilchrist.
AD had 2 points in that game and won championship.
And Michael K. Gilchrist was there. So, I mean, you can kind of say NBA talent-wise it wasn't stacked, but because really, if you look at it, that's not the best team he's had. That John Wall Kentucky Wildcat team was probably one of the better ones he's had. What year was that?
Was before 2015. I know that.
I know. When was that? Was that 20? All right. That was 2009, 2010. Okay. This probably was the best one that they had. Okay. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players made it to the NBA. John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Patrick Patterson, Eric Bledsoe, Darius Miller, Daniel Orton, DeAndre Liggins, and Josh Harrelson. All right, those Eric Bledsoe, DeMarcus Cousins, and John Wall alone. I mean, they're pretty damn good. All right.
Yeah.
Their high school recruiting classes for that year: John Wall 2, DeMarcus Cousins 3, Patrick Patterson was 10, and Daniel Orton was 19th. So, needless to say, they had 4 top 20 players on their team.
Not bad.
That's not bad.
They win championship?
No.
Fire him, too. Him and Coach K. Fire him.
Average years of experience on that team? 0.8. 0.8. The average height was 6'7".
8/10 of a year in college basketball is how many months of school?
Because what? Because how many months of school is
that? 2 months off. So let's say 10 months. Let's say 8 months of school. So 2/3 of a year they spent at Kentucky.
That's it.
They spent a
that's the
European vacation.
Yeah, that's the average.
It would be so much better if they all just went pro in Europe for a year. Smarter. Get paid.
Yeah.
Well, I maybe not getting paid. All right, Gronk's ready to play another season. Holyfield says Tyson has turned down a $25 million fight offer for him. I don't even know what that means. Tape measure better measure than size. Tape is better measure than size. The Smith, the wide receiver for Kentucky, obviously when you weigh 110 pounds. Gonzaga's up 12 at halftime on Oklahoma.
Damn.
We got Yetis tomorrow. On YouTube, folks. Go to WHS YouTube channel. You can watch. All right, Hunter. Anything else come across the board today? We missed out. Talked about.
Yes. As of an hour ago, Elgin Baylor has died to natural causes. Did you?
That was the first thing I said.
Oh, I didn't hear it. I thought you were talking about Baylor.
I said Elgin Baylor died today.
Oh.
Yeah, Elgin Baylor. Speaking of him, let me tell you where he's at. I was bringing up while I'm here. Luka Doncic's stats this year: 29, 9 and 8. Last year, 29, 9 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
First year, 21, 8 and 6. Just insane. Elgin Baylor. We talk about these all-time players, and I think he's third. Let me make sure. All-time NBA points per game.
How'd you say he died?
Just natural causes.
Yeah, 20. Oh. Yeah, he's third all-time in NBA career points per game. And did you ever heard of Elgin Baylor before?
I've heard the name, but I don't know.
So him and Jerry West sitting there at 3 and 5. LeBron 6. LeBron has dropped 2 spots this year alone
in points per game.
Points per game. You know who's behind him right now? At 0.4 of a point per game?
Kevin Durant.
Oh, Durant's already passed him.
Yeah.
Durant is now 4th all time.
LeBron's still
Kevin Durant is the number.
All right, now you're asking me this: is he a current player?
No.
Is that, oh.
But LeBron might back up to this. It's only 0.4 of a point.
All right.
Iverson.
Ooh.
Now, Iverson averaged 26.66 points a game. Shannon said here the other night and said he was not a Hall of Famer. He said for his off-the-court problems. I said, what problems?
What problems?
He's never arrested. Didn't he cause a lot of problems?
Nope.
He didn't like practicing. Might have slept through 5 or 10 of those in his life.
Come on, what are we gonna?
Practice.
That's like trying to make the same excuse for keeping T.O. out of the Hall of Fame. Like,
he even brought up T.O. He's like, he's just like T.O. I was like, but he's still in the Hall of Fame. Still second, third, fourth, fifth best receiver ever, whatever you want to put him at.
Come on, crazy.
But here's so Durant is 4th, Jerry West 5, LeBron is 6th at 27.02. Iverson 7th at 26.66. Bob Pettit 8th. Oscar Robertson 9th. James Harden now has moved into 10th this season.
James will.
But he's probably going to back up too.
He might when
he's
Kevin
getting older
comes
and
back.
Durant and Irvin. Right now with Hunter, he's at 25.17.
He's
doing getting less than that, ain't he? This year, is he?
I don't know if he is or not. Well, think about it. Kevin Durant and Kyrie have both missed some time, and I think he dropped a 40-point game the other night.
Yeah,
so.
it's not like he's not going to be putting up 50 or whatever.
I think, but I think when it's all said and done for James, he could be top 10 in points per game.
I think he's going to try, but on this new team, all right,
it's going to be hard.
This year, he's averaging his average at 25. So
I think it just depends on how committed he is to ring chasing right now.
Well, also,
or if he just wants to stat pat.
But again, Hunter, at how old is he now? 31.
He got a lot of basketball.
He's got
left.
4 good years left. 35, there's his line, man. And then it's all about how hard you want to work. LeBron obviously works hard enough to be in shape.
Well,
is James Harden at 37 years old?
It's going to come down to conditioning and
right.
Because here's the thing that'll never go away. His shot will never go away.
You know what he's going to be at some point? The Ginobili in his late years, running it. Maybe even the Nets offense, running the Nets offense like Ginobili when he comes in the game, 6-man. It's going to be better to put Harden on the bench at some point. Ginobili just didn't start. He came in the second unit and played the whole rest of the game.
James Harden could come off the bench and be like Jamal Crawford at any moment, drop 35.
Right. He'd be great. He'd be fantastic. 3-4 years now. I wouldn't do it next 3 years. No, he's fantastic. But once he starts getting a little slower, fatter, James, to the bench, sir.
If he would stop eating Golden Corral like he does every day.
Is that his spot? The corral? Or is that you just guessing?
That's me guessing.
Okay. I didn't know if that was an actual thing or not. I didn't know.
He's going to Magic City when he gets done on that plane for them lemon pepper wings.
He's in Brooklyn now. There's plenty, I would guess, establishments up there. Miami's the spot to be right now, according to the internet.
I know, right?
I told y'all spring break's different in some places. All right. Anything else? You got any comments, suggestions? Missed anything big this week?
No.
Clemson football, Clemson basketball. I know you want to talk about that.
Only other thing I saw.
No, we're not.
Only other thing that happened
was getting beat by 4 points.
Deshaun Jackson signed with the Rams, so they got another weapon for Matt Stafford this year. That's other than that, nothing. Free agency kind of went crazy for those first few days, and now it's kind of died down.
Besides Rodgers, real quick, who's the favorite to lose in the NFC playoffs to Brady?
Probably is Matt Stafford. It probably is.
Him and Fitzmagic going to go in there with their no wins against Brady. That's who he'll lose to, though. Like he did Foles and Eli.
Well, I want
Brady
you to think about it
already.
No, he's signed for 4 more years.
Yeah, so good. Enjoy him at 45 or 46.
Till he gets hurt.
Yeah, knock on wood. I don't wish for injury just to happen.
All right. Play us away there, Tanner. We'll say goodbye to everybody. Yetis baseball this week. We got 5 or 6 games in 7 days here for the Yetis. So tune in. 2 doubleheaders Sunday as well. Saturday and Tuesday are the doubleheaders. Play Sunday. We got football. Saturday, I got to talk to Hunter a minute about that. KDC Broadcasting. Shock Jock. See you next time. It's Zach Mayu Wednesday. KDCBroadcasting.com.